What's going on, guys? Aaron from PhoneDog.com here, and I know you've been waiting for this one, and now that CTI is over, well, here it is, the HTC ThunderBolt full review. 1 GHz Snapdragon processor, 8 megapixel camera on the back with dual LED flashes, 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera, so you can, shoot those MySpace pictures and do all those MySpace curves like you wild individuals do. Kickstand on the back, you can't hate on the kickstand. Capacitive buttons on the bottom. Android 2.2 with the newest version of HTC since, and best of all, it's running 4G LTE. It's actually Verizon's first phone to have LTE capabilities. If you've seen any of my videos, within the past couple of months, you know what the new Android market looks like, but for those that haven't, there are some significant changes to the overall structure. First of all, you'll see the carousel up here at the top, and they've really just organized it to make it a little bit cleaner and a little bit more user-friendly. Still, you'll see apps, games, and Verizon, depending on the carrier that Verizon is replaced with whichever carrier the phone is operating on. But you can see just a little bit more fluid, a little bit more clean. We'll go to Verizon, for example, we can see the VCast apps and visual voicemail, things like that. We'll go back, we'll go to an app, for example, and download it just to see, or just so you can see what it looks like. Top free. Oh, no, I don't want that. ESPN, I want top free. And let's do, we need to update anyway. So Flash Player 10.2, update, hit OK. And it'll say your item will be downloaded. And you can see it downloading there. So a little bit different in terms of the structure and how you download apps. But otherwise, pretty easy to do. Now let's go into, now that that's downloaded, successfully installed, I want to go back into the browser just so you can see the page. It's going to reload PhoneDog.com, and now that it's running Flash 10.2, let's take a look. See those improvements? Yeah, pitch to zoom is about the same. Page isn't loaded yet, so let me be fair and wait until it loads. And you can see, bam, okay. So new version of Flash supposedly improves it slightly, and provides some minimal updates, or updates and minimal improvements, but you can see about the same in terms of performance. Let's take a look as well at Gmail, and this is also something else I typically cover in the Android videos, but in case you're not familiar. New updates and enhancements to Gmail. For example, up here, if you click on Old Man McTweety, it'll show all the associated Gmail addresses with this device. Also with Inbox, you can see the drafts that I have set up, the spam that's come through, chats sent, etc. So I can go back from the label. And then another cool feature, this is just one I really like a lot. We'll wait for it to load, and I'll show you the header. The header stays at the top regardless of where you're at. So unlike iOS, if you're in the middle of the email, you're like, who sent me this? I can't remember, and I want to reply. You see something that says reply ASAP, and you're like, I need to reply. You can do so by clicking that and clicking reply, all from the header. You still have archive, delete, and the arrow buttons down at the bottom as well. So you can see change labels, mark unread, go to inbox, and more. 8 megapixel camera on the back, 1.3 megapixel camera on the front, and I've been very impressed with the camera on the back front, exactly as you would expect from a low resolution camera. But let's take a look at the rear camera, and as you know, this is always an unofficial test. We can get an idea as to some of the detail, etc. There's no camera button on this device, no dedicated camera button, so it relies on you pressing and holding or clicking the display to focus in. Now that picture looks pretty good to me. We'll take a picture, and then we'll take another one just for good measure. We'll take it of this up here, for example. I'm going to focus in pretty closely and snap a picture. So overall, there we go, bam. Exceptionally impressed with the camera. It does a good job, and in my opinion, it rivals some of the other cameras on the market, namely iOS. Very good camera. Autofocus has been good, and 720p video recording has been great as well. So video camera is great, the camera is great, and then you have the front-facing camera for those times that you want to video chat. By pressing menu, you can get into some of the settings. You can switch the camera around. You can go to self-timer, image adjustments, things of that nature. And let's go back here. White balance, resolution, things like that. So all the cameras, obviously, like I said, this is a pretty low resolution camera intended just for video calling and just for front-facing pictures, but certainly good nonetheless. And it's nice to have 21,082 pictures remaining. That's quite a few pictures. Quadrant standard time. Let's see how this device holds up to the Evo 4G. Now, just to give you comparison, the Evo 4G was running, for me at least, my Evo unit was running between about 1100 and 1300 in quadrant standard. So we'll put this down and run the test. Let's talk about the overall call quality. Call quality, it's been decent. What I've really had trouble with, the 4G speeds. I was in Orlando, and not just at the convention center, but even 10 miles away, 15 miles away, when headed out to dinner, things like that. 4G was just very spotty, and it seems to be spotty. I'm hearing reports of it being spotty around the nation right now. That's today, March 25th, 2011. So if you're watching this video a year from now, it may be totally different. But they are having issues, it seems like, with their 4G, which leads me to believe, hey, this network is new, and you're already having issues with 4G. That might not be the best thing, even though the spectrum is very good. Otherwise, the call quality has been decent, but data speeds both in Orlando and Charlotte have been frustrating, to say the least. Let's check it out and see what it comes in at. 1,659. So in the speed test, it does beat the Evo. 1,659 comes in right about where the Inspire 4G comes in. So you can see, like I said, 1,659, and see if I can pinch that and make it zoom in. There we go. Okay. 1,659. There we go. Okay, it's focused on the phone. Sorry for those drift issues. Not sure what's going on there. But it's fast, and it works well, and in day-to-day use, very quick. Let's go into speed test and do a speed test as well. Let me see if it's loaded up on the server. Sure is. Let's begin that test. Like I said, it's been pretty intermittent. So you can see, seems to be working reasonably well right now. Now keep in mind, the upload speeds are not nearly, the download speeds are correct for the most part, about 20 megabits per second, somewhere between 10 and 20. But this application is not capable, according to speed test, is not capable of really testing 4G speed. So for all those people that are posting pictures on the internet talking about their speeds, according to speed test, those aren't true because it's not really capable of interpreting 4G speeds. The best way to do this is to connect to mobile hotspot and then run speed test on your computer. Mobile hotspot, speaking of, is free for HTC ThunderBolt purchasers until May 15th. After that, you get 2 gigabytes of data for $20 a month. It's an extra $20 a month that's tacked on to your $30 smartphone plan. So free until May 15th, $20 per month after that. So if you do have a Thunderbolt or you're going to buy one before May 15th, check it out. Like I said, it is free, and there's a feature code on your account to make it free until March 15th. So, all around, it's a win-win. You get to try it out and then cancel it if you don't want it, or keep going with the $20 per month. So all in all, I'm a big fan of the HTC Thunderbolt. I love the big display. I'm a fan of these bigger phones. I like the way it looks and feels. They made some improvements to the Evo, and most notably to me, that the battery cover kind of wraps around the sides as opposed to the Evos that kind of wraps around right here. So there's no creaking, there's no kind of push in the battery door. It's locked, and it's locked in there tight. It feels great in the hand. No wiggle whatsoever, despite it being made out of plastic. And it has those updates like the newer HTC earpiece, and and just overall looks like a newer device. Better kickstand as well. Battery life isn't great at all, especially when running 4G. There's no method to turn off 4G either. So if I wanted to conserve battery life, well, let me rephrase that. There's no official method to turn off 4G. There, if you search through PhoneDog or some of the forums on the internet, you can find a way to do it, but I'll leave that to you to search for it, but it's certainly not official. So we need that in a future OS update, but overall I've been really pleased with the device. Battery life is terrible. Well, between not good and terrible, depending on what you use it for. I can usually make just under a day out of it, but you're doing mobile hotspot, you're using 4G, you're browsing the web, you're listening to your music, you're not going to make it very long. Most people are reporting between 6 and 8 hours. So keep that in mind. Get a car charger if you need it, but otherwise, great device. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for continuing coverage of the Thunderbolt. I'm going to try to do a dogfight between the Inspire, the Evo, and some of the other hot devices on the market, because this really is, right now, an industry flagship. So keep it locked on the site, and be sure to like us on Facebook. We're doing our colossal iPad 2 and smartphone sweepstakes. Very excited about it. Opportunity to win a Google Nexus S, a T-Mobile MyTouch 4G, an Apple iPad 2, or a Motorola Atrix 4G. Really awesome, and we're shipping those devices much faster to the winners. Check it out, facebook.com/PhoneDog, and on the site at PhoneDog.com. Follow me on Twitter as well, PhoneDog_Aaron, with any questions, comments, thoughts you have about the Thunderbolt or anything else. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.